A lovely good morning to you, our Camnet TV viewers, and welcome to our Monday edition of the Breakfast Show. Today, 17th April 2023. I am your host, Zipporah Mshala, to take you through this interesting breakfast edition. Today, we expect to be joined by the Industrious Youth Organization, a youth-based organization which advocates for entrepreneurship, and are just going to help us dissect what potential do youths have in Zambia? Are they utilizing that potential? What opportunities lie untapped for Zambia? What are the potential financing options that are available in the country for youths to have their various projects financed? And so at that time, we're going to open our phone lines, and we expect you, our viewers, to contribute via the phone lines or leaving us messages on Facebook. And at 7:30 or right after we finish the morning boost and the health corner, we're going to open the phone lines and we'll be talking about trending issues. What issues are trending in your community? So remember to call us on those lines. But just to start our day today, let's start with the doctor's corner to give us some health tips for today, Monday morning.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. My name is Dr. Nakuyana Mufaya. So this week we are going to talk about a very common diarrheal disease. It's a condition that is very common amongst us. It's more of an endemic amongst in our communities. So we'll talk about typhoid fever. So I'm sure most of you have heard about typhoid fever. You probably have gone to the hospital and you've been told that you have typhoid. So this week we want to understand exactly what is typhoid and also how it comes about and some of the signs and symptoms of a person or a patient that has typhoid. And we also want to know how is it diagnosed in the hospital and how can you prevent yourself from getting this condition of typhoid. So today we'll discuss what is typhoid. Typhoid is a diarrheal disease, as we have mentioned. It's caused by a bacteria, and this bacteria is called Salmonella. Now, Salmonella, there are two types, most of them that cause typhoid, two major types. There's a Salmonella typhi and the Salmonella paratyphi. So these two bacteria are the ones that cause typhoid. And usually it's gotten from the fecal-oral route. By that I mean somebody has to ingest it from their food. So it's shed through the feces, and if someone has not washed their hands and they have touched food and then they ingest that food that is contaminated, then they would get the bacteria, which will attack the immune cells in the intestines. So it attacks the lining of the intestines, and in the lining of the intestines we find some immune cells. So those cells will be attacked, and eventually they will start, the bacteria will make the immune cells to start producing more of the bacteria itself. So as the bacteria multiplies, that is how come you start getting these symptoms of being sick. So usually it takes about 7 to 14 days before you can start having any symptoms. We call that period the incubation period. So it's a period where the body is still producing more of the bacteria and it's still infecting your body until at a time when it starts manifesting in different ways and you start having symptoms of typhoid. So this typhoid can, as we have said, it can cause damage to the intestines. And sometimes the damage can be so severe such that it can cause perforation. So by perforation, we are talking about causing a leakage in the intestine. So your intestines can have end up having a hole or a perforation, and some fluids from the intestines can start leaking into the abdomen, the overall abdomen. So that's one of the complications of this typhoid. So it's important that we know exactly how it comes about, and we know how we can prevent it, and also know the symptoms, so that once you see yourself having these symptoms, or know somebody who is having these symptoms, then you quickly rush them to the hospital where they can get treatment. So make sure you watch the other episodes this week, where we'll talk more about typhoid. I hope you have learned something today. If you want to learn more about other topics, make sure you watch my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Nakubia Namfaya, on YouTube and also on Facebook. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me on Facebook at Dr. Nakubia Namfaya. I'll see you next time. Stay blessed and stay healthy.
So that was the doctor there, just trying to highlight some issues about the typhoid fever. And as I'm sure you're aware that many people during the rain season had a number of typhoid cases, and so it is important for us to identify the symptoms of typhoid. Even when you drink contaminated water, like water mixed with sewer effluents, you know that you are at high risk of having the typhoid fever. And I'm sure that as the week goes on, the doctor will continue explaining for us more of the symptoms and maybe even at home treatment. So let us just pay attention and put to practice what the doctor has for us. But just now, it is time to shake a little. It is time for the morning boost to get our adrenaline running and get ready for the day. Let's have the morning boost. hope you enjoyed your exercise there, because I did. It was time to shake a little bit and get ready for the morning. Just now we take a look at the money market and see how our kwacha is faring against major international convertibles. So we have the euro there, which is buying at 19 kwacha 83 ngwe, which is actually buying at buying at 19 kwacha 83 ngwe, selling at 20 kwacha 22 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 22 kwacha 43 ngwe, selling at 22 kwacha 87 ngwe. The United States dollar is buying at 17 kwacha 99 ngwe, and selling at 18 kwacha 34 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha and selling at 1 kwacha 01 ngwe. And of course, our interest there is on the US dollar to the kwacha in terms of exchange rate, and it's on the 17 kwacha mark on the buying side and on the 18 kwacha mark on the selling side. So we definitely hope to see this sustained, and for the kwacha to continue improving further, as we are an import-oriented country. Anyway, just now we open our phone lines and we talk about trending issues in the country, and I'm also going to zoom in on some of the stories that made headlines yesterday. So as we are playing these stories, if you feel that a particular story is of interest to you, or if you want to raise, maybe if you want to alert maybe stakeholders there, the policymakers, on what is happening in your area, do feel free to call us. Just now we have officially opened the phone lines, and as well you can leave us a message on Facebook. So yesterday we saw a story from the Food Reserve Agency, FRA, in Chipata, who are saying that members of the public are misleading. That the misleading statements from the members of the public, which are causing unrest concerning the millimil. So according to them, they're saying the millimil situation in the country is not as it is being portrayed. I don't know whether this is true, but for example, myself, because of what has been happening, I did not expect to find 25 kilogram bags of breakfast millimil, even in the local shops. But even just in my area in Mutendere, yesterday when I was passing, I saw that there was this millimil in these shops, and then I'm like, but why are people saying there's this millimil crisis? But anyway, is it the same in your area? Do you feel the Food Reserve Agency is on track in saying that people are misleading, or is it actually the picture on the ground? So we saw this story from Chipata. So let's just take a look at the story from the Food Reserve Agency.
Maize has up to date remained a staple for Zambia's inhabitants, as majority of households depend on millimil for daily consumption. However, the past few months has seen panic buying of the commodity by the residents, with many accusing the Food Reserve Agency of selling off all their maize in stock. Following this public outcry, the Food Reserve Agency made a visit to Eastern Province and toured some of its depots. After visiting 4 FRA depots in Lundazi and Lumezi district, it has been established that FRA has enough stock of maize. Lundazi Acting District Commissioner Mukule Banda says Lundazi district has enough maize and says it remains the major contributor to the country's national food basket.
Than for Lumezi. This is more than enough for Lumezi.
Too much.
It's too much. We need also to get this maize somewhere where there's a deficit, if it's there.
Yes, like Copperbelt.
Like Copperbelt, Lusaka and other provinces.
You know, this Lumezi is an agricultural hub.
Yes.
Lundazi. The journalists saw what you found there, that 2,000 tons is nothing. Lundazi alone, if well managed, Lundazi, Lumezi, going into Chikomen here up to Masempanga. This area properly managed can feed this country.
Yes.
Easy. We're not supposed to be grappling with food issues in this country. The potential is huge. You can see here.
And Food Reserve Agency FRA Board Chairperson Kelvin Hambwezia says misleading statements from the public and social media has contributed to the instability and panic buying of millimil.
Food Reserve Agents, we have sufficient maize stocks to last this country up to the next harvest season. And when we say don't panic, this is what we mean. And as you can see, trucks are loading. I will go there, you see. Trucks are loading to the Copperbelt. So we're moving some maize from areas of surplus to deficit areas, so that we can meet the local demand in those areas.
Meanwhile, Lundazi District Commissioner Jimmy Perry says the district has enough stock, with the Food Reserve Agency having about 300,000 metric tons of maize in stock.
Through this office, we have been able to apply to the institution to have community sales, and we're glad that on a bi-weekly, you are able to supply us with about 600 by 50 kg bags of white maize, which we are selling to the community at 200. Obviously, these monies are still being retained by FRA. So we'd like this to continue because, as you've seen with the weather as well, is that it's still raining in Ondazi. And obviously, by this time of the year, in normal circumstances, we should have had the farmers or the community relying perhaps on maize which has not dried much, but they too get to dry this maize. But that is not happening, meaning that we have this demand. So we would like to urge that perhaps we can continue with the community sales, and equally we placed that we also have a milling plant in Ondazi, and that too is also sustaining.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News.
Quite interesting there, and we actually do hope to see stability in the country's, staple food. And this is one thing that stakeholders there have been saying, stating that, Zambia has a comparative advantage in terms of we have the land, we've got the water. So we need to make sure that we grow this maize on a large scale to make sure that even if we export, the local market is not disturbed. So this is an advantage for us. We have to produce enough for the local market and enough as well for export. This is where we can earn some, foreign direct investment as a country. So this is one area we have to take advantage of. We've heard different colliding statements over the status of milling. But remember to call us on the numbers that are scrolling on your screen and contribute to today's breakfast show. Right now we are discussing trending issues in the country, and among the trending issues is the issue of milling meal. Let's just take a look at another story from Alliance for Community Action, ACA, where the executive director Laura Miti has reviewed that they have come up with a fundraising venture for Cyclone Freddy victims in Malawi and have raised about 25,000 kwacha and assorted items. So I'm sure you are aware that in February and March, our neighboring country, Malawi, was actually hit by Cyclone Freddy. So this is one of the effects of climate change. And, a number of people were displaced, and over 500 people were reported dead due to the Cyclone Freddy. And so we've just seen, different people coming in and helping our neighboring country. Let's just take a look at that story on Cyclone Freddy from Malawi.
After the Cyclone Freddy hit Zambia's neighboring country, Malawi, thousands of people were displaced and up to date are still struggling to rebuild their lives. With the worst case scenario, others died to a record high of at least 300 people. Organizations and individual people reorganized themselves to lend a helping hand to the survivors of the Cyclone Freddy disaster, away from government to government aid. Laura Miti, a human rights activist, made a call on her social media platforms for ordinary people to donate in form of money, clothes and groceries, to which the response has this far been described as impressive. With plans underway to deliver the donated items, a group of young people Sunday were busy sorting out the donated items in readiness for dispatch. Rodney Kaunda, one of the youths sorting out the donated items, is grateful for the response given by the public.
Here as early as 8 hours just to sort out the clothes that will be taken to Malawi in response to the cyclone that occurred about a month ago, if I'm not mistaken. So we're just trying to make sure that everything here is well packed into their own respective categories. That is for the men, for the ladies, and also for the children. So we're hoping that we could be done by 14:15 and making sure that everything is properly packed.
Important because today it's Malawi. The other time it might be Zambia, and we might also need the help.
In speaking to Camnet TV, Laura Miti says the spirit of Ubuntu cannot go without action whenever people are in need, like the case of Malawi.
And now we're at the stage where we brought together some young people to sort out the clothes, pack them so that we can send them on. We're still happy to receive more clothes, to receive more money. With the money we are hoping we can buy dry goods. So these clothes are going to go to a particular community, because we are aware that there are other larger initiatives, you know, like big charitable organizations, but there are always those communities that fall through the cracks. So we've talked to someone in Malawi, another ordinary citizens, who's identified a particular community which lost, I think, dozens of people who died, but particularly their houses were washed away. The most of people are in hospital or in camps. And so we think that if we take these to them as people to people, citizens to citizens.
She has also called on other people who still want to donate to do so.
Malawi can happen to us, but it also happens within the country. And there are just those times in life where you need someone who maybe doesn't even know you to stand up for you. So that's what this is about. And the reason why we've brought young people to sort out the clothes, you know, maybe this is an extension of the work we do with Kwela. We need a new generation of young people who will take this up. And I think you learn charity as a child. So with the young people sorting out there, they're just given up of their time. And when we are too old to do this and done, they'll be the ones leading the initiative. And that, I think we need to learn as Zambians that we can give. You know, sometimes we become very good at receiving aid, especially aid, you know, in circumstances like this. We are waiting for America, we're waiting for other people to help, but Malawians are our neighbors, and sometimes our neighbors are right close to us. I hope we can do something about it.
Sharon Kalimula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Quite an interesting venture there, and actually congratulations to the people who contributed the funds. You know, that is quite a humanitarian gesture there. Anyway, just now take a look at another story from Chivolia compound that we did on 15th April 2023 before we jump into our next segment where we're getting ready to be joined by our guests, the Industrious Youth Organization. They're going to tell us what potential youth have in Zambia. Are they utilizing the full potential? What example can we take from other countries? So on Saturday, we did a story, before we go to the main interview for today. On Saturday, we did a story in Chivolia compound, which is actually kind of related to the topic that we're discussing today, where I caught up with some women there who say they grow their own groundnuts, they crush it to make peanut butter, and they sell in the local community. So they were just calling on other women to emulate their moves, saying instead of depending, you know, on their husbands all the time for finances, we're talking about women independence. Instead of engaging in illicit vices like prostitution and alcohol drinking, they were urging women, you know, to be innovative and come up with ways of making money. So let's just take a look at that story from Chivolia compound before we invite our guests here on the show. Since the introduction of cooperative funding under the Constituency Development Fund in 2022, those who have not made it, blaming the lack of knowledge on how to write business proposals, seem to have taken it as a passport to venture into unproductive activities, stating that their fate has been sealed. Many of these have voiced out their lack of interest to try their luck in upcoming CDF opportunities for funding after failing the first time. A group of 5 women in Lusaka's Chivolia compound, however, state that there is need to realize that CDF is simply one of the many available funding opportunities and not the only opportunity. The women say they have, as an example, set up a business for themselves where they farm groundnuts and crush them into peanut butter, which they sell in the local community.
Timakazinga pinati, tikakazinga shaba kunyumba. Tabwera kulusaka, tagaisa pinati. Kuchoka hapo tambogulisa. Ichira mukala chabe. Tizipezera ndalama mpinati. Ichira kuyenda chabe kumoba nikutaya ntawo. This time nikuzionera usati kulindira chabe mwamuna kuti akupasi.
The women have therefore urged the fellows to take up the challenge as opposed to being engaged in unproductive vices.
Peanut butter kashava, then ukasiriza waikamu ukavende, wapukuta then waikamu ukavende, watwa wateka chimwala so wayapo tena so then waikamu mabotu we.
So imapangika smooth so chap.
Imapangika smooth. Yo pera kachimwala. Ugulisa ni foto. Chito yanga nima chita business ya peanut. Nima kazinga kunyumba
nikabwera kuno nabwera nagulisako ndalama nakuchita vovala kuvalika vana vana siniyembekeza muntu ati anichitire yayi tumbuwa tonse nipanga niyo business yanga initandiza maningi usati kuyendaenda chabe kubuhule na kumova mazimai tisiye icho.
They state that they have been able to continue improving their business in the long run using the profit they make. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Monday, 17th April 2023, on National Matters, join Pastor Moses Chiluba with his guest, Honorable Chipoka Mlenga, Minister of Commerce and Trade.
That His Excellency the President of the Republic of Zambia has given strict directives that myself, Ministry of Agriculture and other colleagues through the civil service and government wings will work together to not only find the solution to the problem, but make sure that mealie meal is not only available, but the price is also affordable.
As they discuss, where are we as a nation? On TSTV channel 274, GoTV channel 98, and Topstar channel 106.
Invite others to participate through phoning on Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, and text messages. Make a date with us. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you for staying tuned in on our breakfast show. Just now we are transitioning to our next segment where we're going to have an interview with the Industrial Youth Organization, which is actually based in Kanyama and does many works involving youth. And I've been joined by the organization Executive Director, Mr. Nathan Takakuya, and the organization Secretary General, Mr. Michael Sekeleti. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
I hope it is a lovely Monday morning for you.
It is. It is. So it should be a lovely Monday.
Sure. And so today we are discussing youth empowerment. Maybe for the viewers out there who do not really know about your organization, maybe just kindly give them a run through what you do as Industrial Youth.
Industrial Youth it's an organization that deals with youths, exactly in the heart of Kanyamoso and in Chawama. We try by all means to see to it that the youths have got, they know their roles and their rights in the community. Because many of the times that we do always just blame the government, that us playing the role as youths in the community. But we should understand to say, for us to see a better Zambia, for us to see the change that we wish for, it is high time that we wish to implement that we think is right as youths. So we thought taking it upon ourselves and educate one another in the community to say, guys, these are our rights and these are our roles. For us, if we have to see the change that we wish for, we have to take this route. Sure.
And maybe Mr. Sekeleti, would you say you have been successful in your sensitization in the community? Have you seen any change which is coming up?
Yes, it has been. At least we have tried our level best to do what we can, and we can rate ourselves for 6 out of 10, which is above average. Yes, which is above average.
What was happening before and what is happening now after your sensitization?
Before, before us we came on board, we opened an organization in 2019. You know, there are a lot in our neighborhoods, there are a lot of people that are just roaming around, and we saw a lot of debt in the markets. That's when we had to go in to make sure that we sensitize the youth, saying, it's your law to do these things, it's your law to do these things. As we speak now, we don't even stress very much. They come on board on their own. So at least you can see the mindset change amongst our youths, where we see, you say in our neighborhood, if this thing can be replicated in a lot of areas, we're going to find that at least we can talk about the Zambia that we want at the end of the day.
Quite interesting. Now, maybe Mr. Ntaka, we've seen many youths today, you know, are engaging in, you know, even the other time we heard the president talking about it, the president of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, way of saying many youths today are interested in betting, you know, they're interested in getting quick money. What is your take on such issues?
We should understand also to say gambling biblically is wrong. And also the government's view, or the president's view, when he was saying that he took it as maybe trying to say something on a silver platter without sweating for it. But in other angle, you can agree with me to say it has brought employment within Zambia. The companies have brought employment, and also the people who are doing the same gambling, they're doing a living from it. Some of them, we can agree with me, because there are people we can point at this one. And now in dramas as well.
From gambling.
Yes, and they change their lives. So definitely they're going to give a different view depending from what they are gaining from that. And then the president's view was more like they're doing things on a silver platter. So it's a 50-50. It's more like you're telling to say, stop selling beer. Some people would say we make money from there. Some people would say we create jobs from there. So it's kind of debatable, and the people with so many ideas, by the end of the day, they take the lead. But all in all, we should say about it is, for me, if you ask me, it is bringing employment to many. And yes, there should be rules that should be followed among it, so to see to it that it does not bring more harm, in the sense that where we would see young children engaging in such activities. So as we are doing that business, it does take legal measures to say to it that we are restricted to the people allowed to bet.
I can see maybe you'll take on that.
As for me, you know, me, I'm one of the culprits who have worked in a gambling company for so many years.
Tell us about it.
He knows it, for even himself, been in the act whereby working there. To tell you the truth, gambling brings nothing to a country. If you have seen the downfall of countries like Greece, these are some of the reasons. If you go to China right now, there is only one gambling company. You're going to find that they're coming here in Zambia because of the porous rules. Gambling doesn't create anything. What does gambling manufacture? Just vending money. That's what happens.
And between young kids, young children, is it those in the community called bonanzas?
You know, gambling, to tell you the truth, gambling brings nothing to a country but destruction of the country. Because what do they produce? They produce nothing. And go and find that here, the problem that is happening here is that you have the legal rules that binds the opening of gambling companies. It's not there. You know, licenses for gambling companies are just being dished like, I don't know, they're sold on the market. We don't know. But there are no legal measures tight enough in order to curtail the creation of a lot of gambling companies. Because right now, anyone can walk into any casino, can walk into any gambling company and gamble at any time, at any free will. And we should know gambling brings about laziness amongst people. Because we'll be depending on luck, not depending on hard work. Like what the president was saying, you saw. Yes, on another part, certain people are getting jobs, but a lot of people are just being misused in that particular companies. Because if those particular companies don't make money, they could have closed. Which means gambling companies made a lot of money, and people that are getting to be suffering because gambling don't produce anything. It only now depends on luck. What type of work is that depends on luck? What do they manufacture that you can export outside and earn a living? What do they produce at the end of the day? Nothing. Because if you walk into these casinos, can win even $1 million, they'll give you cash. Which means money is not in the banks. Money now is being invaded in people's homes, in those particular companies. So gambling, there must be tight measures whereby those that should go and gamble there should be a maximum, a minimum that someone can go with. Because not everyone having a 10 kwacha, 15 kwacha, 2 kwacha can go and gamble. That's wrong. People now start depending on luck instead of hard work. At the end of the day, people become lazy. And the country's economy will be destroyed like that.
Would you be of the view that it should be banned or maybe just regulated?
No, it's supposed not to be banned. It's supposed to be regulated. There must be strict measures. And casinos, the opening casinos should be very few. Gambling companies should be very few. Not the way I've seen now. We have casinos in just in Lusaka, have more than 10. You'll be talking about gambling machines in our communities. They're just destroying young kids from going to school. Because everyone now is just depending on luck instead of what? Depending on hard work. So I will go to school, yeah, just as gambling. What's that? So there must be the local authority, especially those are the ones that are giving licenses, especially this gambling, these bonanzas. They must be having strict measures. They shouldn't be pressed in our communities. They should be removed from there.
And just to add on, we have seen a lot of these bonanzas in our communities today, which is also gambling. And to make the matter worse, these are placed in shops. Not really in bars where I can say it is rated 18, but in a normal shop where you can buy a drink, any child can go in and they are free to gamble. I think that's where now the government should come in to say this is wrong and bring those people to book. So to our side, the gambling, the measures that which has been there should be a bit strengthened to see to it that it does not bring the view of to say it is laziness and it is also lobbying money from our country and also destroying the younger generation, like he has put it. So it is high time the government in that area, they came to it, especially where bonanzas are. Let them not be placed in shops. Anyway, as long as shop pakona and kids are playing like that, that way it has destroyed many young ones.
But you shouldn't forget that gambling now is online. It's very easy to gamble. Someone can be sleeping even at 0-1. It's gambling. You're in a bed, so you're gambling. Only I can be seated here. Wow, this side I'm gambling on the phone. You see? So there must be a restriction measure even on online gambling. Online gambling is a type of gambling whereby someone can be even in class. I'm teaching, so someone behind me is gambling. You see? Those are things happening in the societies. So don't it's not necessary that although they cartel them to be in the shops, but what about the online issue? Because online gambling has a lot of people at a go than like what? The gambling that takes place in shops or in the casinos. Because the casino can't accommodate more than 1,000. But if you go online on gambling, go for 1,000 people live gambling there. So they must put also incentives measures, legal measures that should also curtail online gambling also. Because it's there. You don't just put this issue there saying that no, they're only gambling in this particular shops, people are only gambling in this particular betting companies. No, even online now, someone is home, seated, is gambling. 0-1, someone is sleeping, is gambling. You see, you saw the death of that particular woman that died, it poisoned herself and also poisoned the children. Yes, it's because of the issue of gambling.
Putting people in a lot of debt.
Yes, putting people in a lot of debt. Can it depend on luck? Which is not okay. We cannot have a country where a lot of poor young people depend on luck instead of depending on hard work. That's very wrong. That's the total destruction of the country. Let's learn from China. What they are doing about gambling. Do you see a lot of gambling in China? No. Let's learn from Greece, what they've done for that country. Those are the things that we need to learn from. Let's learn from there. Also, there should be a lot of strict measures. A gambling license should be very expensive and taxed high, so that you can tell people for more gambling. Let's impose a lot of high taxes on gambling companies, so that at least we can tell the people the gambling from there.
Quite interesting. There now we did talk to the clergy about the activities that youths are venturing in, among them gambling, social media abuse and all that. So let's just take a look at that story that we did with some clergymen on the same, and do join us in the conversation. With Zambia's youthful population accounting for more than 50% of the nation, youths are regarded as one of the country's key assets and builders of the country's future. The caliber of many youths in Zambia has, however, worried some clergymen, as they feel that many of today's youths are more concerned about engaging in vices such as casual sex, cigarette smoking, beer drinking, betting, and the abuse of social media, leaving the safety of the country's future questionable. The Independent Churches of Zambia, ICOS, says the church should not keep quiet on these escalating vices and the abuse of social media, but should engage the inculcation of sound morals in youths.
You know, you are the future generation, because right now we have got just a moral decay among the youths. You know, instead of doing something constructive, we want to do something very destructive, something that is going to take their lives very quickly. Because if you take a survey in terms of fatalities in the country, in terms of deaths, those that are dying, you'd find that it's between 15 or 19 to somewhere 40. These are the people that you'd even find in mortuaries when you go and take a survey.
The Apostles' Council of Churches, through its programs director, Reverend Maona Zulu, have also spoken out on the abuse of social media, stating that the same platform can be used for productivity.
This is why you find that even the behavior is different from the us, because by then we couldn't find the things which are deep. But nowadays, you just Google, you are able to find anything. And when you go now to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, things are passing on which are very, very bad to the society. Therefore, it is us now to see to it that these things are not for me. We avoid such things. Therefore, let's use social media for positivity, for learning, for teaching other people, and also for preaching the gospel.
Meanwhile, the Movement for National Values and Principles, through its Chief Executive Officer Jose Kunda, has also spoken out.
Many of our youths, including the general public, are not living in tandem with the Christian values. Because when we look at the moral standing of our country, regardless of us commemorating the death and the resurrection of Christ Jesus during this period of time, which is called Easter period, we need to manifest an attitude and a conduct that is in harmony with the example that Christ Jesus himself left for us to emulate.
They have emphasized the need to safeguard Zambia's status as a Christian nation and discourage moral decay. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka. Quite interesting there. So that was a story that we did on Monday, actually last week Monday, with some clergymen who are just telling us about the activities that many youths are venturing in today. They were saying many youths today are abusing social media. They're engaging in illicit sexual activities, beer drinking, cigarette smoking, as well as baiting and many other things, as opposed to being productive. So do join us in the conversation. And just we're discussing youth empowerment. How best can youth be empowered in Zambia? So you can call us on the numbers that are scrolling on your screen, or leave us a message on Facebook. And we do have some messages on Facebook, but we'll read them out very soon. But I would just like to get a reaction maybe to the story that you played. Maybe Mr. Antakakuya there from the clergy. What is your thought on that?
Madam, it is sad to see a young generation like that being lost in such a way. To be truthful, they say we are all born looking like our parents, but we die looking like our choices. So by the end of the day, first it should be at the individual level what you choose to engage yourself in. No one is going to force you to make that change that you wish. We all grow up as an individual, then you make a choice and a decision on what you want to become. So the things that you engage yourself today is the things that is going to determine you tomorrow, what kind of person you'll be. And Zambia is one of the growing and young youthful country. And it's sad to see that we have decided to copy other people's culture, forgetting our own. That's why the bigger problem is coming in. We wish to adopt other people's culture before we learn of ours. And forgetting that what we see mostly, it's on media. We copy their culture mostly on media. And those people, they are only on media when they are making money. So in most cases, they are doing that because for them, they are making money. and you'd love to see, because now ujanavana vaso yesterday nine end of valley, you don't even wake, you want to indokura vala vote dula to look like that person who put that on, because him was making money. For example, I'll give you example. You see this, our artists we check on every day on these Facebook pages, they always look nice, he's dying up, black, machines and everything. Probably he's doing that because he's going for a show. He's doing that for magazine purposes. Then you want to be looking like them every time. You see, we are forgetting the two things that you see. Them, they are doing it for business, and you were just doing it for pleasure. And the money they are making from that, you is far less from what you get. So just distinguish the two to say, those people, they do it for money. You, it is an actual in life. There is no, that's not pretend to look like people whom we are not. And away from that, we should also look at into our community. We should identify things that will keep our youths busy. So by the end of the day, they won't have much time copying other people's culture, but find time in our community solving the problems that we face in our community. And we can only do that if the government put up policies that will allow the youth have friendly spaces in our community to find themselves keeping them busy. But if there is no policies that is going to be implemented in those areas, we are always going to be finding ourselves copying other people's lifestyle and not living our own.
Very interesting. Let's just take a look at what one of our viewers, Mr. Macmillan Wembia, is saying. So this is the message from Mr. Macmillan Wembia. It reads, that is a good initiative by the youths. The problem in Zambia is the education system, which needs urgent revision. We commend the Ministry of Education for setting out on a curriculum review. The problem that we have in Zambia is lack of funding. Not everyone can benefit from CDF. So my question is, how best can Zambians be taught to generate income from a young age? Look at China. Almost everyone is doing something of their own. In Zambia, if you're not employed in government or the private sector, then you just sit at home. Where are we missing it as a country? Quite a mouthful there. Yeah, maybe, but a number of issues were brought out in terms of the education system, the CDF issue, like how best can, and as well as how best can people learn how to make money from a young age. Maybe your response, both, maybe can begin with you.
Yeah, the viewer there has got very vital points. You know, foundation determines how the structure will look like. Foundation determines the strength of the structure. We're going to find that ours here, our education system is very porous. Our education system is not good, because this education system started in 1964. 1964, the reason why we were rushing in order to produce a lot of graduates, because we wanted them to be administrators in a lot of government parastatals, in a lot of government institutions. Fast forward, we went up to 1996, where there also other education reforms, where I centered too much about implementing a lot of schools in a lot of areas. The issue that was just there in the education reforms that have been happening all in this particular past, so just there to enlighten the citizens, give knowledge to the citizens so that they can work white-collar jobs. That was the reason why all these particular education reforms were coming from, were happening. Not forgetting or not putting into consideration the factors that will come as a result of having a curriculum that only encourages on white-collar jobs. So if you have seen now what is happening, that has brought too much unemployment late. There are a lot of people there that have gone to school, but they have nothing to do. It's because of what? The education system that we're having here is only producing what? Graduates that can only work for the government or some parastatal companies out there, which is not okay. So the best that we need to do is to embark on the education reforms like they are doing right now. There's education reforms that are happening right now, which is very good. We recommend the Minister of Education, Honorable Siakarin. That is very good, what we are going in. So what needs to happen is that we need to reform our education sector such a way we should not be producing graduates that should be capable to do something on their own. You know, a school is a very complex organization, if you want to take it in that particular manner, because in a school should have people in the risk grade 4 when they come up from there. If someone is doing agriculture science, they should be capable to operate these particular machineries that are used by these particular commercial farmers. And they should be capable to venture into farming on their own. They don't need to wait for someone to employ them into farming sector for them to utilize their skills. So go and find that we need to implement education that will be self-centered, that will be centered on someone practical, not on theory. So that's the education system that we need. That's centered too much on practical, not on theory. And the number of subjects, again, are too much. How can you be taking 9 subjects? Well, we are just only interested in becoming an engineer. We are learning RI, we are learning all these particular subjects. So let's have a stage whereby this other subject should just remain. You should only focus on what you want to be. Because our education system has created a lot of people to be failures. If, for example, me, I only passed in woodwork, they will say you are a failure. You didn't pass in 6 subjects, 5 subjects, you can't go anywhere. But I'm very good in woodwork. I can make desk, I can make this. If I only pass maybe metalwork, I'm very good in welding, those things to do those things. But just because I didn't pass 5 subjects, I'll be called what? A failure. I didn't pass English, I'll be called, you can't go anywhere. But there's a skill in me. You see, there's a talent in me that is in me. You know, education is there to bring out what is embedded in a child. But the education system is just there to give you skills to become a good manager, to give you skills so that you can go and line up and look for a job there. So the foundation here is wrong. So there's need to correct the foundation that was built. You see, even the CDF, if you have seen these particular CDF programs, not everyone can benefit from there. It's too little. The money is too little. That everyone needs to benefit from there. What needs to happen is we need to, these CDF programs, let them be embedded also in the education sector, whereby these particular graduates that are reaching grade 12 should not become a mandate. Whereby after we reach grade 12, we need to undergo a skill training center before enrolled in any university. So that people should have skills or they are going for any other thing. You know, those skills are very much important. I think that can alleviate poverty. Because a skill, without a skill, you are nothing. Because although I have nothing right now, I can go and settle in Chadiza. As long as I have a skill, I'll be able to survive. Me, I don't have any skill. How can I survive from there? And even if you have looked, they said, we start getting youths, yes. But we don't find that those youths have a lot of pressing issues. For example, me, if at this my age, if I'm married, I'm doing whatever, then tell me I go and do a course for 3 months, who pay my rentals? At the end of the day, I'll just say, no, I'll not report. Because I have pressing issues within myself. That I need money just instant so that I solve my own problems. But if you start getting too much, those people that are finishing grade 12, just there and then, I go and find that a lot of people inquire these particular skills that the government is bringing closer to our desktop. So there's need for these particular programs too much to have a policy that will allow more of the world's people that are finishing grade 12 to venture in these particular skills. And let's change our curriculum. Let's have curriculum reforms that will be centered too much on business, entrepreneurship, that will be centered too much on ICT, that will be centered too much on agriculture. These are the 3 things that can bring change to this particular country. If you talk about ICT, it's the future of the country. Because each and everything is going e-commerce. So there is need for each and every Zambian to be computer literate. There is need for each and every Zambian to acquire the skills of agriculture. Because that's what will feed the country. Because Zambia has got arable land, if you have seen. 35% of the water bodies are in Zambia. So there is need for us to learn more skills on agriculture that will be centered too much on minerals, mining. Mining activities will be centered on that like agriculture course in order for us to have a lot of skills. Then we need also about entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is the only way to go. There's no human being that is the richest that she works for someone. Always need to work for herself. So there's need to start inculcating the issues of entrepreneurship at a young age in preschool. We need to have a curriculum that talks about what? Entrepreneurship, start inculcating those particular skills. Not those issues that used to tell us a long time ago. You become a thief, you know, embracing now poverty, say, don't need to have money. No, that also should not be the case. Entrepreneurship, humorous about entrepreneurship is started to be taught at a young age. People should be taught, if you want to be successful in life, the only way to go is entrepreneurship, nothing else. Because this education system is just there to solve the problem side, not to get rich, no. or to be doing very fine in life. No. It's just there to help us solve problems of the society. So if you have seen the problem that we're having right now is the education system, tell you the truth. It's the biggest thing that we're having that can change the life of a lot of citizens. There is a formal education system, impart life skills at a young age for your children. Go and find that although they'll be drop out at grade 7, they stop school. They'll be capable to do something because of the skill that they've acquired. So the viewer there had the valid points. Not everyone can contribute, can benefit from CDF. Yes, but the education system, let's try to change it, reform it in a way that should be centered too much about entrepreneurship, centered too much on agriculture, centered too much on ICT. Yes, as anyone, although you try to venture on anything, but ICT should be a must. Because although we are in entrepreneurship, like this particular here in this particular studio that we are in, right now, the owners are venturing too much in online. Not only someone who sits in a house and just watch TV. Go and find other people are moving. So you need also to move with technology. Take it to Facebook, take it to Instagram, take it to a lot of forums so that people can follow from there and to make money from there. So there is need to reform our education system in order for it to align itself to the 21st century. It's a way that our friends in Europe have done it. Because here the problem that we're having again is that you have given us too much respect to education and discarded talent. There's nothing on earth that can pay more than the talent of a human being. Nothing. So there's need also in order this particular education system should be capable to bring out the talents that are embedded in our learners, in the children, in our communities. Once we do that, we're going to find that in the next 30 years, there'll be a Zambia that everyone will admire to have. Because of what the skills that people will portray, the skills that people have, they will not be capable to say, me, I need to go and line up there to get a job. So everyone will think about it, doing something on their own. You see, we don't need to wait for the government to do something for us. There must be something that we must do for the government in order to assist it.
And also speaking of our talent, like you have spotted, in our view as a government, we always understand to say, they are graduates who leave school, who leave university each and every year. It is high time that the government brought together the people from universities and those people without papers. We should understand to say in these national empowerments, in most cases they will require well-organized groups. And many people feel discouraged because of the process that it is in it for it to be acquired. So we find that if they identify people who are leaving school, universities per year, and in which category, comparing to the people at the constituency level or community level, those people who are engaging the same ideas, and tell them to say, okay, we have got people who are not been to universities and they have been to universities. Let the government collaborate the two. Because you find that others have got power, physical power. Others, they are physical, they have got power in terms of thinking. When you collaborate the two, the youth is the backbone of a nation. And when you collaborate the two, those people with papers, we can put it, and those who have papers, bring them together. You find that we are going to have a strengthened generation of youths that will move in one accord without segregation. Then also the other part of the government always trying to embrace its members first. It has also contributed for many people, especially youths, not to contribute to national development. Let's say you find that there are events that requires people out of politics, bring out issues and let them be solved. And such events, we only see those people who are aligned to the political party in power. They will attend the events. That also disadvantages others from participating. I'll give you an example. Let's say this event will require 1,000 people, at least 800, let them being from other organizations, such as the church, such as universities, and other people in that event, and bring ideas from different views. And not only where a situation would see those people who are loyal to the party, they are there in those events. Those people that are already loyal to the party, and everything that is going to be said there, they will be yes, 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 because they are loyal, and we won't have the vision of the other people. So for me, I would say, if the government or the nation has to move forward, let's see a government that has got a heart to hear the views from different views, not only from the people within the party, but also from people outside. A government that is going to include not only people from universities, but also people who have never been to universities, embracing them. How do you do that? Follow them, identify what they want at the community level, then lift them up and bring them to the national cake.
Quite interesting. We did see a youth Indaba on 10th March. Is it 2022? National Youth Indaba on 10th March. Have you seen anything substantial coming out of that Indaba that was held? Has anything changed for the youth? So either of you.
As for me, I'm one of the people that have attended the youth Indaba in the past. Yes, I remember attending the National Youth Indaba at the Rosson Bro Hotel, and this one I didn't attend. But National Youth Indaba have produced nothing. There's nothing to point at that we attended this National Youth Indaba, our ideas that we had put up, they changed this. You can't find that those are not forums that we can discuss the national matters. We're about just as people that are just there just to be crappy.
And some have argued, anyway, we don't, but some have alleged, some stakeholders have alleged that those are politically drawn. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, you are very correct. Those political functions, most of the time, they're politically drawn. Most of the people that attend those political functions are those people that are crying to the party in power. If your organization criticizes the government, it's very difficult to attend those kind of functions.
So
and ideas most of the time will not be heard. Because whatever you'll be saying there, if the majority in the audience, they are not of you, they don't support you. No matter how much you can talk sense, they're not. No, those national youth Indabas are just there just to, as for me, I don't see any beneficial, any sense in those particular youth Indabas. Because a lot of people, those who attend those particular Indabas, are those that support government in power. Yeah, whatever they do is just yes. They're not like to ask people who say, yes, wrong, yes, correct. Isika. So those youth Indabas, they have not produced anything. Okay, but if anyone who has attended, me, I'm one of the people that have attended those youth Indabas. I've not seen anything. Although ideas that are put there, I have not seen any idea being implemented. They are just there for a show off most of the time. That yes, we're engaging the youths, we're engaging the people in national unitas. No, those are not beneficial in any way.
So how best can government hear the views of youths?
The best way that we can hear the views of the people, on the ground, government, politicians should not be involved. Let technocrats be involved in hearing the views of the people. Politicians will always be political aligned. Come rain, come sunshine. Technocrats are the best people to advise the government, are the best people to correct the views on the ground. Those are the people that should be in forefront or spearheading such kind of events. Politicians do not even find themselves attending those kind of events. Let technocrats be the one forefront of carrying out. And those particular national youth Indaba should not only happen at the national level only. They should start from what? The ward level. We start from the ward level, those Indabas throughout the country. Correct views from there. From the ward level, should go to the constituency level, the district level, the provincial level. People should be drawn from there up to the national level. Not only happens on national level. Then what are you trying to tell the people in Chadiza? What are you trying to tell the people in Chavuma, in Sikongo, in Kaputa, who have no power or no opportunity to find themselves on that particular forest? Let's try to identify, take those particular views, starting from the communities. From the community, that's where you need to start from. So the National Youth Indabas, me, I'm one of the people that were invited. I've not seen any substantial gain from there. Even when I went that side, what I got, I don't know what I got. Even what was discussed, that was 2018. What was even discussed there, I even forgotten. Because in that particular forum, I was just full of yes. You see, which is not to discuss national matters like that, genuine national matters. Let technocrats go on the ground, they do the work. Go and find that there will be substantial ideas that will come out and that can likely to change the face of the nation. But let them not be on the national level only, but ideas should be taken from the communities. Because those are the people that are affected very much. Unlike the people on the top, a lot of them. The impact is not felt by them. The impact is felt by someone in the community there. Someone in Chadiza, someone in Chiwombo, down there on the ground. Those are the people that can correct ideas from. Because they're affected.
Quite interesting there. Now, on Saturday, we did see the director spokesperson at the Ministry of Information and Media, Tabo Kawana, actually speaking to some youths at Mulungushi's international conference at the Global Youth Empowerment Summit, and he was urging youths to stop depending on, stop looking for jobs in government, but to be the solution to their own problems. Let's just take a look at that story. Young people in Zambia account for more than 1/3 of Zambia's population, according to the 2022 Census of Housing and Population, representing a key part of the country. This means that change is mainly supposed to be driven by the young people in various sectors of the economy for meaningful development to be achieved. But challenges such as lack of employment, among other empowerment programs, are hard to come by for many. This is despite government allocating at least 20% of the Constituency Development Fund allocation towards youth and women empowerment, with other respective departments also offering some form of empowerment differently. Saturday, young people met at the Global Empowerment Summit aimed at unlocking the potential of young people as a push for them to be self-reliant and network with other people. Speaking at the summit, Director spokesperson in the Ministry of Information and Media, Tabo Kawana, encouraged young people to get up and do things that empower their lives without waiting for anyone.
Young people in Zambia need to begin to change how they reason, how they think, and how they move going forward. Don't be part of the choir that is always looking for negativity, always looking for something to complain about. Be the one that goes out to look for opportunities. And I saw on one of the papers, I think it's yesterday or the other day, and I want to believe it must have been Daily Mail. There was a motivational quote there that says, a lot of people miss opportunities because opportunity comes dressed in an overalls, and a lot of people ignore it.
Mr. Kawana has meanwhile commended the young people who are trying to defy the odds into the path of success.
Very happy to see and note that in this summit, the majority are young people, and that's what we need. We need young Zambians who have a change of mindset, who think differently. Don't be the one that says CDF is not accessible. Be the one that asks, how can I access CDF? Where are the forms? What do they need for me to fill in? Not because you hate to fill in forms, therefore you only jump to conclusion that CDF, it is not accessible. Meanwhile, your colleagues, fellow young people, are using the same CDF to progress themselves. They are going to school. They are going to high learning institutions. They are acquiring skills for themselves. Skills that they later come to use to gain employment for themselves and create employment for others, while you want to sit there and complain. It is time to change the mindset.
And event organizer Inonge Imbula says the meeting themed personal development at its peak. And event organizer Inonge Imbula says the meeting themed personal development at its peak is aimed at bringing together entrepreneurs, employees, students, and everyone trying to establish their roadmap to success.
Is personal development at its peak. What this simply means is your development, getting you to a place where you become the best version of yourself. So personal development is actually a consequence of personal awareness. I will start by asking you, who are you? What is your vision? What vision are you currently pursuing?
Reporting for Camnet TV News. Quite an interesting challenge there from the Ministry of Information and Media Director spokesperson Tabo Kawana, who was saying many youths, I actually attended the same summit where you were saying, many people are complaining, I've been unemployed for 7 years, for 10 years, ever since I graduated, but they were throwing out that challenge. But maybe the question to our gentlemen is it easy to access funding in Zambia as it is put? We heard there the director saying people are lazy to fill out paperwork. What is your take on the story?
The director for Ministry of Information, it said people are lazy to fill out the forms. It's not correct. The problem there that we have in our societies is the spread of information. A lot of people on the ground don't have information about CDF. They just hear about it, but how to go about it, the information is not there. We have not seen a lot of advertisements in the communities, people going around the communities, telling people, explaining to people on how you can go about the CDF funds. It's not there in the communities. The only part that is there in the community that they are going around to spread the news a lot of people is about the issue of skills. But a lot of grants. I've never heard anyone going around in the community saying there are grants, there are grants, come and apply for grants. I've never. In the communities. The problem that is there is lack of information. Information in communities are not being spread. The other problem is we have information, you go there to apply. The bureaucracy levels on which your form needs to undergo for it to reach the intended purpose is too wrong. Go and find that. I can give an example. As I've applied before. At the WDC, they approve it. From there, it will go to the constituency, they'll go to the council go to the minister. How can someone having a ward in Kaputa, that form needs to come all the way to Lusaka, the minister? When is it going to reach Lusaka? When is the minister signing? So the bureaucratic levels, they are the ones that are frustrating the people. When you have that particular idea, or you are fresh with that particular idea that you have, for it to be approved, it will take 8 months. When have been lost interest and ventured in something else. So there is need to bring about the issue of decentralization about this CDF. Let the approval be done at a provincial level or at a district level. Yes, district level much better. Let the approval be done at district levels and let there be money in the CDF fund for investments. For money that should be given for investments for going around to spread the news. Because the biggest enemy of any human being is ignorance. If people are ignorant about these things, they'll just hear about, the CDF money. But how to go about it, you don't know. There are vast consequences and vast words in Zambia, whereby for you to go and just go to the office of the WDC, it's about over 16 kilometers. Those who are the ones that should follow people in those steps, spreading the news. Not should be the other way around at this particular moment. Because we are trying to bring up, there's something new. If there's something new, you people on the top of the one should go down flat out. Not people that are down now, they should follow you up. They don't know much. But if you follow it down there, they'll be interested much to follow it up. So there's lack of information on a lot of CDF programs. As the same, which is there is lack also of information about social cash transfer, on how people they can register, how they can go about it. A lot of people are not educated on that particular one. Yes, so the minister saying that people are just afraid of filling forms or so ever. I mean, I don't see it to be right.
Maybe your take on that story, Mr. Ntakakwe.
My take on that one, it has been always the process on how it's done itself. CDF. CDF, you find that for you to access CDF, there's what we call the WDC. This WDC, they are the people at the community level that looks at what projects do you have in the community, as in people bring out the submissions and everything. So where everything is spoiled is at the WC level. The WC level, how is the criteria used to select these people? To be honest with you, in the committee of WDC, we should see independent people and not political party aligned people, which is what is happening almost everywhere. So now, while it is now at that level, you find that the people from the Chipani, they will get that first. Pakudira first. That's where we are going to eat from first, because we have been Chipani, number one. And when considering the people who be applying, since in Chipani, they will get first projects from Chipani. That is speaking from things that are experienced now. If you want to do a survey, I've given permission, go in Kanyama, ask the WDCs how many are from Chipani. All the 6 wards in Kanyama. And ask them how many from the church. Ask them how many are from independent bodies. So if you find that many are from the Chipani, you cannot have development when all of you want to eat from that. That is for the community and not for any political party in power. So the moment you agree to say the WDC they should be for the community, you are going to see that people will be able to bring in ideas, bring in problems, and using the CDF will be able to implement those ideas. Now, where the problem is this, since the Badipa already the ground to receive this money in Vachpan, everything in line becomes Vachpan and not for the community. That's where the problem comes in, number one. Second, these people, for them to join, as they now submit their proposal to these people, the process, like he has put it, it is too long and it is taking long. The people who are involved in this finding issues again, they are old people, they are big people with responsibilities. And for this process to be done, you find that they have got bills to pay home. And by the time the money will be released, they would love first to solve problems home. So you find that many projects, CDF people that bring up this organization, they are not successful. Why? People within the organization, they have got problems home. It is the reason one, last time I was here, only out of, I don't know if it's 80-something projects, cooperatives which were registered, only one was making soap, if you remember. Where the rest, they had problems. Let us first keep these problems home before we talk at national level. It is the reason why you only find women, they succeed in these areas. Why? Because they know the husband, they'll bring unga kunyumba, they put less pressure. But if a man himself gets involved in this process, he would love to get man and solve the problem home. So before we sort out that mess there, we won't see any development. So now, which people are we going to see that we target so that these CDF, they work according to its intended purposes? We should find that now we have to bring it mostly in schools where we find these people who are real youths. CDF, it is in 5 categories. And you find that from the 5 categories, less people have got knowledge about the loans, less people have got the knowledge about grants. Where does this money meant for this? Who gets the money? Yes, we hear about school sponsorings because people, they take their children and they go to school. We hear about them. We hear about mechanics everywhere, and we hear about community projects. Community projects, which people are bringing in proposals or are bidding for those projects we have in the community. Do we have people who are independent? You find that the people who are getting those tenders, they are from those who are Chipani. They are selecting. So no work is being direct delivered because it is not straight done. When we put the right people in these offices, you find that all the 5 components of CDF, it work according to its intended purposes.
I think just add up what Mr. Nature said. The problem that we're having here, the president, if you have seen, has been very categorically clear. You need to consider everyone as long as a Zambian. But the problem is on implementation down there. That's where the problem is. On top, the problem has been sorted out because the #1 citizen always said Zambians first. But the problem comes in on the implementation on the ground. Because if you go to Wapula, there are a lot of PFMPs and councillors and the council chairpersons. They consider their people first. And if you go to an area where there are a lot of UPND members of parliament, councillors on the ground, you're going to find that the one who feel too much entitled are the ones that arrange the party. You see? That's why the problem comes in, because politicians are the ones that are also be part and parcel of what? The program. The best, me I always say, let's take politicians out from this particular some of these particular programs. Let's have independent people, even on WDC level. All those people around the party, no. At council level, let the politicians or the councillors sit in those particular committees. Let's just have independent people. Because those particular people, their allegiance is about winning. Whether they like it or not. You cannot be a member of parliament. Then you don't want to to support the people that supported you, you will tumble next. That's the reality. It's like, I make sure that supported you, there must be incentives for them.
Quite interesting. Unfortunately, you seem to have run out of time. Maybe in under a minute each. What are your concluding remarks?
My concluding remarks is that the government or the Republic of Zambia, through our president, they have a vision for our country, which is very good, which is supposed to be supported. But the problem is the people that have been appointed to support the president who is in power, they are the people that are bringing the country down. That's a problem that I see. Even the issue of CDF is a nice program, but the problem is that the people down there are the people that are diluting this particular program. You know, this particular Zambia that we have is a Zambia for everyone. If me, I develop, my community will develop, and the whole country will develop. So there is need for each and everyone to be part and parcel of the programs that the government is doing. Let's not wait for the government to do for us something. Let's do something in order to supplement government efforts. Because government, it's me. Government, it's you at the end of the day.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ntaka. Under a minute, your concluding remarks.
Oh, yeah. Speaking on youths, especially, I would love to say we are born looking like our parents, we die looking like our choices that we make. So basically, on what every choice we make, let's make sure that we don't destroy ourselves. Every choice we make, let's see to it that it benefits my neighbor. Thank you.
Quite interesting there. So that was the Industrious Youth Organization, and we had a very interesting topic. We tackled a number of issues, and thank you to our viewers who were tuned in via the television sets on Facebook, as well as those who participated via leaving us messages. But this is where we do come to the end of Monday's edition of the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. But do remember to keep on watching throughout the week as we bring to you more interesting topics. From us, it's have a good morning.